right, Pete. You know what to do. Just let the ball go.
You're listening to him live. He is the number 4 seed. And we're underway for the U.S. Open. And he got it.
That's a bad man right there, Gary. He once killed 2 stones with 1 bird.
And Lady Luck, they've all talked about Lady. Yeah, see? Lady Luck riding with them. There's a little hint early.
Check out the messenger. The head pin goes to the sidewall, kicks the 10 out, and there's vintage PDW.
The number 3 qualifier is a 4-time PBA Tour champion and former PBA Rookie of the Year, making his 14th career major final appearance. From Horseheads, New York, Ryan Shafer.
This is the bridesmaid. We'll use that term over and over again regarding Ryan Shafer. It's how good he is. He has finished 2nd in 5 majors and been in the top 4 in 13 majors, but is looking for his first majors win. And Shafer's underway. Now we kick it off with a couple of strikes. Ryan Shafer, we asked him, why is this U.S. Open so tough?
Mentally. I mean, you just beat yourself up every shot you throw. I mean, you just miss by a crack, and I mean, the ball just goes wherever. It's just hard to believe that lanes can be that tough, and we can bowl that good.
He's talking about the oil pattern, of course, here for the U.S. Open, which is different than in any other tournament that they bowl in, and the most difficult pattern.
And there you see it. 2nd frame in. I guess arduous is the word that I would use, Gary, but when asking Ryan last night, he told us the lane conditions, they're horrible. They're impossible. But that makes this tournament so great.
And you do have to make adjustments, and you have to make them quickly. It is a stepladder format, so you've got to win to move on, and you just don't have much time to think about what the strategy is going to be once you get started. And a key at the U.S. Open, making spares.
Avoiding open frames.
You've got to make your spares. Tough one.
Just like that. I mean, if you're going to shoot a split, the baby split's the one you want to shoot at. But you're exactly right. The key is to keep the ball in play, keep your target in front of you, avoid the big splits in the open frames, and then hope that you're lucky enough to somehow string a couple strikes together.
Yeah, all 4 of the finalists, when we talked with them last night, said spares. I mean, generally, you hear them talking about strikes all the time, but here in the U.S. Open, it's about you've got to make your spares and can't leave it open. Pete Weber started with a strike.
Ooh.
Not the split you want to see.
The 410. And this is what you see, or what we're going to see all day long. And as the lanes break down in transition, the players need to stay on top of that. It doesn't take much of an errant shot. Pete's going to get his ball over in here and throw that 4-pin into the 7.
Wow.
It doesn't take much. It's, you know, an inch left or right of target with the wrong hand, wrong release, wrong speed, and it's going to be an open frame.
Man.
And even here, you can't afford many of those, despite the fact it's tough. Talking about the oil pattern and why it's so tough here, Rand.
42 feet in length, extremely flat. We'll get into it a little bit more in a bit, but it is by far the toughest oil pattern on tour. Just to give you a little nugget, over 8,000 games bowled throughout this tournament, only 1 300 game by Jason Couch.
Think about that. Whoever needs to get back with a strike. Does.
He's locked in and looks good on the left lane. He'll need to make an adjustment and figure out what to do on the right lane.
It's a nice comeback. And you see signaling himself there what he was up against and trying to make that quick adjustment. Now Ryan Shafer. Shafer trying to take advantage of that open frame now and this dig into an early lead here. Nice ball.
And you can see how deep Ryan Shafer is already, and we've just started. The players beat the old pattern up pretty good in practice. Ryan Shafer is already playing in between third and fourth arrow.
He was the one who talked most about making the spares. He was joking. He said, you know, you go to tournaments, you wonder whether you're going to bring your A, B, or C game with you. He said, I came here to the U.S. Open and figured I got my E game with me. He said, that's how tough these lanes are and how tough it is to stay focused on it. Working here on the strike. And he'll leave one.
Interesting, Ryan going through the nose twice on the left lane. Pete Weber's locked in on the left lane. Pete goes through the nose on the right lane. The difference in styles, the difference in bowling ball rotation. A nice break here, though, and tripping the split out. And again, another key throughout the course of a U.S. Open tournament is you're going to go through the nose. It's how many times can you break up the big split and only leave yourself with a single pin spare.
For the spare. And he got it. But already you have seen in our first match just how tough these lanes can be, each with a couple of strikes. Pete Weber, Ryan Shafer, Weber seated number 4 and Shafer number 3 here at the U.S. Open. In 2007, Pete Weber came here to the Brunswick Zone Carolier as the owner of 3 U.S. Open titles. In the championship match, Weber would take on Wes Smollett, but there would be no denying PDW. As wife Tracy cheered him on, Pete defeated Wes 210 to 204 to capture the 4th Open of his career, tying his late great father Dick Weber as well as Don Carter as the men with the most Open wins. So obviously, if he can take that trophy home again, he will become the only bowler ever to have won the U.S. Open 5 times. That's what's at stake for him today, and he's made it very clear in talking with him this week that it is a monumentally wanted trophy. He would love to be able to win that 5th.
Let's go.
Second all-time, the leader in career major titles, Earl Anthony.
Anthony has 10 majors to his credit. Boy, he had that one lined up.
Really?
See? It's just too bad he's not a showman.
Really?
How tough is it to win this, even though he's won it 4 times? Pete Weber said this.
The elements that make this tournament so tough is the lane conditions, trying to stay away from the splits, making your spares, keeping your patience, not blowing up at the pins, not blowing up at yourself, just trying to keep yourself focused on, you know, when you make a bad shot, forget the bad shot, come back and make sure you throw a good one. I know that's hard to do at this tournament, but the more you keep yourself focused on what's at hand, the easier this tournament is to bowl, but it's still a grind on your mental game, your physical game, and the ability to know how to bowl.
He has 3 strikes. That messenger, not quite.
That's better than I thought, anyway.
And that's, again, a lot of what you see throughout the course of this tournament. A little bit of an errant shot, not bad. It comes in late, leaves a blower 10. But you saw Pete's reaction to that. It was like, hey, no problem. Okay, it's a single pin spare. Should have no problem covering the 10 pin.
He said 1 open frame with an 8. He'll get the spare here.
5-pin match through 5 frames. Pete Weber's thrown a double. Ryan Shafer has yet to throw 2 balls back-to-back in the pocket. He looks good on this right lane. Left lane has been a struggle for him.
Interesting that each of them has picked the other lane to be good on so far.
Push.
And he will be going for the spare.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the difference between a typical house shot and this BPA oil, or excuse me, the U.S. Open oil pattern. Typical house shot, there's dry to the outside, a boatload of oil in the middle part of the lane. So what happens is when you miss outside, the ball hits friction and it hooks back. I'll get to the U.S. Open oil pattern here in a second.
Spare.
All right, so let's talk the U.S. Open oil pattern. U.S. Open oil pattern, dead flat. You get the ball right, it hangs. You get the ball going up or inside target, it's going to go through the nose and it's going to spell disaster. Why not play the outside part of the lane, you ask? Well, that's impossible on a U.S. Open oil pattern. That would be like putting braces on dentures. It just doesn't make sense.
Braces on dentures. Lord Almighty, Randaroo. Ryan Shafer. He's on for that one. So he follows it up with a strike.
Well, that's a good sign if you're Ryan Shafer. Now you finally hit the left lane. Just a pinch high on the right lane, avoided the 4-9 split. He's managing things very nicely right now.
The two words we have heard from all of the bowlers, but these four in particular regarding the U.S. Open, patience has been number one. That's been repeated over and over again. You must have patience. You're looking at the other finishers, the top 24, and the four who have made it here to this championship round this Sunday. Pete Weber. That's the one that's standing up for him so far when he's run into problems today.
You're looking at two players that have a ton of major championship experience under the bright lights, television experience in majors. Ryan Shafer, Pete Weber.
Stay on.
And it went off. He knew. He knew before it got there that he had not gotten the break he wanted on that, and he will leave that frame
Three
open.
times I've missed that pin the last day.
Boy, and this is something that you wouldn't expect from Pete Weber, especially when he's trailing in the match.
Piece of tape in so you don't
Couldn't have
drop
happened
it.
at a worse time, but getting back to the experience
Idiots.
aspect, this is Pete's 8th U.S. Open
Idiot.
telecast. Ryan Shafer has made the top 5 in majors 17 times, so tons and tons of experience. I'm a bit surprised at what Weber just did there in the 6th.
He talked about his experience being what he thinks brings him the calmness to be able to adjust here at the U.S. Open. He needs a strike here, and he got it.
Well, he needed that. You're right, Gary, but now he's got to hope that Ryan Shafer doesn't double up here.
Frickin' sparrow.
Shafer has not had 2 strikes in a row. Strikes in 1, 3, 6.
Idiot.
It almost seems like Weber bowls better when he gets this attitude he's got now. You know, he's really ticked off about missing that spare. When he's a little more relaxed, he seems to kind of, you know, get a little lapse of concentration.
Ryan Shafer's talked about getting the lead here at the U.S. Open, and then in the previous rounds, hanging on to it. That's what he's trying to do here. Ooh.
1-2-4-10, Washington.
And you can see just how quickly things can change. That looked like it was fast and wide of target out of Ryan's hand. Remember the last time on the right lane, he went just a little bit high, leaving the 4-pin, and this ball goes right through the end of the pattern and never has a chance to hook back.
1-2-4-10. Coming off a strike.
He did make the baby split in the 2nd frame. He needs to make a washout here to stay clean. Nope. Back up.
No. So he'll take the 8, and that's, Randy, that's just what you were talking about that Pete had to hope for. It's happened.
Exactly right. Now it's a 2-pin match.
Yep.
Weber working on a strike in the 7th. Weber can strike out to shoot 223. The max score for Ryan Shafer, 215. So, again, this is what makes the U.S. Open so great. You see just how quickly things can turn. If Weber makes the 10-pin in the 6th frame, Weber's got the outright lead.
See how Shafer responds. Pretty darn well, I would say.
See a lot of Brooklyns at the U.S. Open, too, but I'll tell you one guy that doesn't like to see a Brooklyn thrown at him, that's that guy right there.
Re-rack, please.
So easy to do here. You get one shot a little bit wide and it misses a head pin.
Right.
Real easy to pinch it off and get it going a pinch left. And when you do that on this oil pattern, that's when you start hoping for a Brooklyn strike.
He's got 4 strikes, 2 on the left, 2 on the right.
Don't sissy this ball.
You see what Ryan Shafer did in terms of averaging through qualifying, 223. Your exempt players there in the middle. The amateur players, some 44 pins shy of Ryan Shafer. And that's the difference between bowling on a house pattern and not seeing this typical U.S. Open oil pattern.
Pete Weber now looking to catch up here, and that's the way you do it.
Yeah, he's got the lead now.
His wife Tracy on hand watching. How many bowling matches has she set through in his great Hall of Fame career?
Again, you see that demeanor, how it changed when he missed the 10 pin. You know, he was like having a good time out there, and oh, it's really fun to be out here. And now he's PO'd.
Do it right. Do it right.
Strikes in 3 and 4, strikes in 7 and 8. Weber trying for the big finish here, get a lead, put the pressure on. He does.
There you go. That's the Pete Weber that you like to see. That's what you expect to watch during a U.S. Open Finals.
Keep in mind, Weber is the number 4 seed, Shafer's number 3. You got to win to move on here, and Shafer, who had the early lead halfway through this match, now fallen behind. Working on a strike. It's another. 2 who are not going to go away. 2 of the veterans on the tour matched up against one another again. There is Michelle. That's Ryan Shafer's wife on hand here. Who do you think looks more nervous, the wives or the bowlers?
Oh, definitely the wives. The bowlers are numb at this point.
Ryan Shafer strikes in 8 and 9. Got to do it again.
Ryan Shafer taking a re-rack on this left lane. He wants to make sure that everything is perfect for this next shot. 10th frame, all important. Who performs in the 10th frame will win this match and move on.
Right down to the final frame. Pete Weber watching intently on the other side. Shafer not going to get it. He's got to have the spare.
Well, he went Brooklyn the last time on the left lane, tripped the 6 out. He goes through the nose this time, leaving the 3 pin. He, as soon as it gets halfway down the lane, he knows it's not going to push far enough right. Now to have any chance, he has to convert here. Strike on the fill. Pete Weber is going at a 2:03 pace right now. It would force Weber to mark in the 10th frame.
Shafer, gotta have it. Got it.
So just decent count here. He will force Weber to mark. And remember, getting a mark at a U.S. Open when you need it, not so easy.
Not so easy, as we've seen in this match early on. Ryan Shafer looking to finish it out. Oh. Leaves 3.
Never figured out that left lane.
All right, Pete. Come on now. Come on. Stay aggressive with the ball.
So now it's up to Pete Weber.
Stay aggressive.
Any mark.
You missed it there. He said, be aggressive. Pete Weber looking to advance here. It's in his hands. Got it!
That was for you, Rob Stone. A Pete Weber ham bone at the U.S. Open.
So he has defeated Ryan Shafer. He's going to advance. Jason Belmonte will be up next against him. And for Ryan Shafer, another tough U.S. Open. Finishes it off with a strike. So the bridesmaid, Ryan Shafer, will have to play that role yet one more time. And Pete Weber trying to become the first bowler ever to win 5 U.S. Opens. He's giving himself the chance as he's going to move on. The Hall of Famer has won his first match of the 69th U.S. Open.